Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Can Chatter TV. I'm G Talks Arsenal. I'm your host tonight for tonight's show. Obviously, talking all things Arsenal, especially with obviously the great win that we had over the weekend, which obviously saw us go into 10 games unbeaten, up to fifth in the league, and everything's kind of moving in the right direction. So yeah, a lot of kind of happy gooners at the moment, which is great. We're not joined by Stephen tonight. Hopefully he will be able to watch. He will be back with us as soon as possible. But I am joined by Lottie. Obviously, Lottie, how are you feeling? I know you was at the game. I know you had a great weekend. Just kind of before we get into it, just give us some thoughts about how you're feeling and what the game was like.
I would sing this, but my voice is going. As you can all hear, I've been singing all game. I was in block 24 in the clock end yesterday. But I am going to say, Haylen's on a roll. Saka and Smith Rowe. That is all I've got to say on the game. Well, not really. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, it was a great game. I mean, the atmosphere was better than what it usually is. I know my good friend Ben wasn't there yesterday to give the Ashburton boys a bit of energy pump because Ben is full of energy, but they did him proud. I will say that. As you can hear, I kind of lost my voice. I've learned a new song. El Neni has got a song to twist and shout.
Oh, I need to hear this at some point.
Yeah, no, I've got some footage that I'm going to give to Stephen to drop on the channel. So keep an eye out for those. But yeah, no, it was a very good weekend. We had Can Chatter's #1 fan up from Cornwall. So it was really good to see Georgina as well. Yeah. So yeah, that was a very good weekend. Very good weekend.
Excellent. So yeah,
how was yours? Sorry, G, I'm being a bit selfish.
You know what? It was good. It was good. I was a little bit busy because I was working this weekend, so I kind of kept on. I kind of kept up with how the match was going. Obviously, kind of tuned in at one point when we was 1-0 up, but then we wasn't 1-0 up with the whole Saka goal, etc. But I managed to obviously get home, watch the highlights. Obviously kind of, get an overview of, even though the scoreline didn't suggest it, what a dominant performance it actually really was, because I think it's quite misleading, the 1-0 scoreline, but we'll get into that. But yeah, I had a good weekend, quite busy, but yeah, just looking forward to obviously, not necessarily looking forward to the international break, because I think it's kind of come at a wrong time for us, but because we're on a roll, but looking forward to tonight's show. It's always good when we're looking back over a victory. We've done these shows for a while now, and it's not always been as positive as we've liked. So it's just really good. I've not been as positive as I've liked over some of the games. But yeah, no, it's really good just to, feel good, have smiles on our face, and obviously Arsenal moving in the right direction in terms of league table and results. So yeah, really looking forward to the show. So I'm going to run the entrance video, and then we'll see you guys on the other side.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing. The first time it's happened.
So yes, good evening everyone, and welcome back to Can Chatter TV. We've done our introductions. We've obviously given you a bit of a recap in terms of what we're going to be covering tonight, and it's going to be all things Arsenal, as we do on Can Chatter TV. So we're literally going to be covering, doing a review of the obviously Watford game over the weekend. I'm probably covering a couple of other topics and kind of ongoings with regards, Arsenal. As always, there's always kind of loads of things going on kind of in and around the club itself. But before we do that, we will go to the comments, and obviously evening everyone. So first of all, we've got Keith. Good evening, Keith. We've got Tommy, Tom, how do's? We're all good this end. Mikey, good to see you, Mikey, again. Yeah, you are back. I know you've been a little bit under the weather recently, but we have been talking via Instagram. It's always great to catch up with you, Mikey. So really, really glad to have you in the comments tonight. Tom, Keith, your YouTube vids, mate. Yeah, no, definitely. You know what? If you haven't already, if you don't know who Keith is, do check out his stuff. The videos are really, really good. Just a passionate Arsenal fan, just being real, to be honest. And if you like real, you definitely like Keith's videos.
You also
So,
get
yeah,
a few
keep up
giggles
the
in there
shout out.
as well.
Yeah,
They're not
definitely.
Arsenal related. There's always something good
Definitely.
there. Oh,
And Russ Vernon, we've got here. So evening, G and Lottie. Hope you're both well. Yeah, we're all good. We're all good.
is that a new name, G? I think it is.
I'm not even too sure. I feel like I've seen the name before, but
Okay.
look, Ross, if you are new, welcome to the show. If you're a returning viewer, then really good to have you back. But yeah, definitely good evening. So obviously we're gonna just get right into it, really. But before we get onto obviously the game, lineups, match incidents, etc. The first thing I really want to talk about, obviously, there's been some news floating about today, which most Arsenal fans would have seen by now. And if you haven't seen by now, I'm going to bring it up to you. So, breaking news, or not so breaking news, is that this gentleman here, and I'm going to obviously enlarge the picture a little bit for those of you who can't see, where my screen's a bit small. So those of you who are listening, those of you who are watching, what we've got on the screen right now is a picture of the one and only Smith Rowe. So obviously the England squad was announced last week, and there were a few raised eyebrows, more so to do with the absences of Ben White, Smith Rowe. At the same time, massive congratulations to Bukayo Saka, massive congratulations to Ramsdale. Fully deserved. Saka is somewhat of a permanent feature in the England side these days. But obviously with Ramsdale, my only hope is that now, he is again been selected, he can actually get a start for England, which would be good. Because let's face it, he's in absolute world-class form at the moment. But Lottie, I'm going to come to you. Obviously, we're all massive fans of Smith Rowe. We all are. Hairline boy, we love him to bits. We're glad he's got the number 10. And, this season we're really seeing him kind of push, further than he even did last season. But I know you're his biggest fan. And obviously, how are you feeling with regards to news that he's had his first senior England call-up?
I am absolutely buzzing. I mean, he's earned it, but I also understand at the same time that Rashford he's injured, or he's coming back from injury, I should say. Yeah. He hasn't played a full 90 minutes this year. He's got 4 leagues.
Not sure if Lottie's still with us. Is your internet? Can you see us clearly or hear us clearly?
I can hear you. Can you not hear me talking?
Maybe it's my internet. I can see it, but
can you hear me?
I can see it, but it's going a little bit robotic. So it might be my internet. I don't know what the other viewers can see. But yeah, if you could just recap that
it's
a little
me.
bit.
It's just dropped.
No worries.
Yeah, no worries. As I was saying, he's now got 4 league goals, 2 assists, and he's got more than Harry Kane. I'm not complaining, but if we're looking across it, it goes up to 5, and then he's also got 2 assists elsewhere. So I'm not complaining. I'm happy with him. I'm still backing him for 20 goals across all competitions. I know you're not happy with me because I tweeted you. I did tweet you. I'm still waiting for that
honestly, in all honesty, that was an honest mistake. Like I said, I was busy this weekend. So
I'm messing about.
If I'd seen it, I definitely would have responded to it. But you know what? I still stand by it. You know what? For me, like I said in kind of previous shows, I just want to see progress from the Hairland boys.
Oh no, this is progress. He's doubled his record. The highest he's ever scored is for the Arsenal under 18s, and that's 6 in a season.
Yeah,
he's already got 5. He's already there. And his goal for the season was to get 10 assists and goals. That's what he said publicly, and he's halfway there.
He's well on his way.
So why can't it be double?
He's well on his way.
Long season.
He's having a fantastic season, and I think maybe this came a little bit earlier than I think most people expected. Yeah. But I just think it's completely merit to just the way he's playing. Yeah. In terms of how he's playing, it's fully deserved. And yeah, my only thing is, and I don't know if you kind of share that opinion, is obviously now we're doing really well. And obviously we're winning games. We're moving up the league table. what you will have noticed is, alongside the news that Smith Rowe got his first call up, so has Gabriel. Gabriel's got his first call up to the international Brazilian team, senior team. Now, this does mean that the players are going to be playing more games. So, the international breaks are not necessarily going to be time for, the players to stay at London Colney, train, tactics, etc. So there's going to be a lot more traveling. There's going to be a lot more games. There's going to be, potential, more risk of injury or fatigue. So there's always a flip side. And I always like to kind of, bring in another side of the argument. So obviously we're thrilled for the lad. We love Smith Rowe for his personal development, professional development. This is fantastic. But from a fan's perspective, an Arsenal fan's perspective, are you worried in the slightest about obviously our young players now being part of the more kind of international setup, that it could actually be more of a risk of injury or fatigue for these players?
There is always that risk. I am notorious for moaning about AFCON. It's a couple of weeks I've been notorious for it.
Yeah.
But as I said, I think the other week, when I sat there and had a long conversation with James Rowe.
Yeah.
You've got to take a step back and look at the human side of things.
Yeah.
And look at it as a personal view. If you were in his shoes and you got called up to play for England, how would you feel? Yeah. The amount of pride they have to represent the countries is incredible. But I also had a conversation with a Spurs fan today. He said Smith Rowe's not ready. Oh no, it didn't go down very well because I had the same conversation the Friday before and I got called deluded.
Smith Rowe's not ready?
No, Smith Rowe's not ready.
Okay.
He's not starting before Kane.
From a Spurs fan, to be honest.
For a start. He's not starting before Kane. Hang on a minute. Kane's only got 1 goal and 1 assist. How is he not starting ahead of Kane? I get from the experience point of view, but Smith Rowe's got better stats than him at the moment. Across everything. I'm just looking at the league in general. I'm not looking across all competitions because I know people say, hang on a minute, he's probably scored in Europe or whatever. I don't care. But you've just got to look at it from a human point of view. And you look at the stats and the performances. Smith Rowe's doing better than Kane. Yeah. He has every right to start ahead of him. But it's also, you got to remember what Southgate's like with his favourites. I mean, look at Cody and Mings. White's not had the call up.
Yeah.
White has been incredible. I knew he had it in him. People weren't happy about him. I've watched him since Peterborough. I knew he had it in him.
Yeah. I think it's like with
now
the whole
love has just grown. It's just nice.
Yeah.
Watch it all grow.
With the whole international thing, it's I've always been frustrated with England selectors because I've never ever felt that an England team has been picked purely on kind of merit or performance. I've often always felt that there's always been there's always been favoritism towards certain players. And even when I look at this most recent current England squad, I still looked at it and thought to myself, some of those players, albeit they are good players on their day, albeit they're good players when they're in form, the vast majority of those players, well, not the vast majority, but some of those players completely stood out for me. And I just thought to myself, how on earth is that player getting picked? Now, one of them in particular, and I don't want to bash Maguire. I'm not here to bash United. That's not what this channel or this show's about. However, when you're looking at Maguire was immense at the Euros. He had a really, really good Euros. However, this season, he's been absolutely poor. United have been poor in many, many games. And defensively, they've been all over the place. Even United fans are asking for, even United fans are questioning, should he be captain? Should he actually be in the squad? And I just think to myself, if you're going to base it on the players and how they're performing, there's no way he should actually be in the England squad. And that's why I've always kind of questioned, the way England do select, their teams.
No, I completely get where you're coming from. But I think looking at as Maguire as a player, excluding the fact that I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm a football fan first. When it comes to internationals, football fan first, Arsenal fan second. Looking at it like that, he performs better for England than he does Man United. Yeah. That's my opinion, though. I don't know what everybody else in the chat thinks. Let me know what you think, guys. But there is a lot of players that play internationally. They play better for their countries than they do their domestic team. And he was reliable in the Euros. He was reliable, and I think that's what's earned him his space in this last stretch.
Yeah.
It's the last stretch of qualifying this time around, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I haven't been watching the qualifying, so I'm not too sure. But
yeah, England are like dead certs to go through. So yeah, it's
come
a
on,
given,
though.
really.
We're in the same usual typical group.
Yeah, it's just like it's one of those things where if we don't get through, it's going to be a problem, isn't it? Because
it's going to be a complete country meltdown.
It's not really.
You think Arsenal meltdowns are bad? Wait till you get United, Tottenham, Chelsea all involved.
Yeah,
it's a whole country.
Definitely. But yeah, so obviously, really good news for Smith Rowe in particular. So some really good news last week with regards to Bukayo and Ramsdale. Yes. Further good news today, obviously, with regards to Smith Rowe. And obviously, massive congratulations to Gabriel for getting his senior call up to the Brazilian side, because he's been absolutely immense for us this season. So congratulations to those lads. I'll just go to the comments now. We'll run through some of these comments before we actually get onto the review of the Watford game. So Gary, evening G and Lottie, did we win? Yes, we did. Did anyone catch the player who attempted to murder Laka? And we're actually going to cover some of this tonight in terms of just like, how Watford were playing the game, and particular, they're kind of aggressive, and just kind of like just horrible way of playing, the beautiful game. So we will cover that in tonight's show. Russ, Lottie, I've been here before. I've done some of the Worldwide Gunner Elite with Mike.
Oh, Russ, I'm so sorry. I do apologise.
No problem.
Very, very sorry.
Welcome back. Mikey, fully deserved. Yep, 100%. I think you're referring to ES Rowe. So congratulations to ESR and Gabriel on their first call-ups to the senior team. Gary again, ESR and White deserve to be called up based on current form. Completely agree with that. Keith, ESR, proud dad moment. Yeah,
Keith is another been massive ESR fan like I am. Yeah. That reminds me, G, I didn't mention this earlier, but we've all seen the match day shop scarves with the Bukayo Saka and Emil Smith Rowe on. Someone lost their Smith Rowe one. I've actually picked it up and brought it home. So I've now got one. Underneath it, it's got Emil Smith Rowe, and then the line underneath is made in Hayland. How quality is that?
Nice.
Guys, so if you're ever down at the ground, go to the match day shop.
Yeah.
Go and grab a scarf.
Definitely.
Keith again. Also got Bukayo Saka ones as well. They're brilliant.
Excellent. Keith again, ESR would have played full games for under 21s, probably less for the full team. Also training with the squad for a week can only help. We've got Russ. Good evening, Russ. Who's Harry Kane? Exactly. Don't know where he is. Don't really care where he is, to be honest.
Well, we've got respect when he plays for England, Jay. Come on.
Yeah,
be nice.
No, for real. But tonight, I know we're talking England, but yeah, I've already got my Arsenal hat back on. Do you know what I mean?
Your Arsenal hat hasn't come off yet. The break hasn't officially started.
That's it. Gary, England has some of the best young talent in the world, but they probably won't get to play for the senior team. And if they do, we won't see the best team. Tom, we have Lottie was Kane's only assist this season. Antonio's goal against the Spuds.
Tommy's right.
Mr. Sparks, 1886.
Oh, he's back. Welcome back, James.
We've got Mr. Sparks again. Just home and my phone pinged. Time for Callum Chatter. Definitely. Glad you're joining us tonight. Mr. Sparks then accused us of cheating. Congrats on the overlooked players actually getting called up. Yeah, definitely.
Makes a change.
Russ, ESR should have been in the squad to start with when the squad was initially announced, and that's something that we've said. In terms of form, he definitely does deserve to be there. So for me, obviously it happened in a roundabout way because Rashford had to withdraw from the squad, but regardless, he deserves to be there. And for me, I just, I'm not a professional selector. I'm not a professional coach, but I just think the best players should get picked for their national side, regardless of club affiliation, reputation, previous performance, or price tag. That's just my philosophy. I just think that's the best way to operate. Only half scarf you should ever buy. Definitely. It's the only one we should get. That's for sure.
I saw someone walking around a half and half scarf for a North London derby.
No,
sacrilege.
I just don't get it. I honestly just don't get it. Like, each to their own, don't get me wrong, but for me, I just would never, ever bring myself to purchase that in a million years. I just wouldn't. Saka over Kane right now, guys. Well, look, I think I think
I think Smith Rowe should have the start.
Yeah, I know a lot. I know
personally.
you were saying about Smith Rowe and Kane, but I think for me, I just think like if Smith Rowe and Saka, I think Saka, he can play for England. He might not play for England, but he's going to be out on the right. I think with Smith Rowe, likelihood he's probably going to be out on the left or maybe in the number 10 role.
Do you know what I'd like to see?
It's not going to have much of an impact on Kane's place in the team because Kane's competing. Yeah, he's competing against the likes of Watkins. And to be honest, I can't even think of many English strikers that have had.
Do you know what would be a lethal front four? Like if we had Kane up top, Smith Rowe, Grealish, and Saka, they can all play in those positions and switch it up any time in the game. Do you know how dangerous that would be?
Yeah. If you actually look at the England forwards, Bamford's out injured, DCL's been injured.
Yeah.
Antonio, he's now playing for the Reggae Boys in Jamaica because of a lack of opportunities.
Yeah.
Watkins has not had a great season at Villa. So really and truly, even though Kane's been quiet,
he's the most senior.
Who would you actually put ahead of him? Because there's nobody really staking a claim to take that spot while he's off form. So, to be honest, even though I'm an Arsenal fan, right now I'm picking Harry Kane in the number 9 spot because
definitely.
I don't think there's anyone really that's kind of staking a claim for it.
Mr. Sparks, Russ. When you've got a Spurs fan coming at you like that, you're just going to back your boys. But you are talking sense. I completely agree with you.
100%. Same old England political machine. Mr. Silver Fox, good evening, guys. What's up, my friends? We're all good. Russ, I reckon ESR will play one or both of these games. I think so as well.
If he doesn't start, I'm not watching it.
And Mikey, yeah, that's true, guys. And the last one we're going to go to before we move on swiftly. My mate said when we were talking back, Lottie took my program. You can't. I said you gave it to.
He did. He gave it to me.
And
James gave it to me. Tommy's right. He said, you can have it if you want. I went, okay, thanks.
There you go.
And it's got a nice bit that the wicked save that Ramsdale did. It's got that on the front. So
okay.
Yeah. I was just admiring the photograph. I said, you can have it if you want. I'm like, okay.
Quality. Right. So we've spoken enough about England. Obviously, we will revisit it at some stage. Obviously, maybe during the qualifiers, and obviously, it's going to be a talking point because we've got more Gooners and Arsenal players now in the team. We've got Ramsdale, Saka, ESR, and hopefully Ben White. So it will be something that we will cover here and there.
Yeah. Do you know what's nice? We've actually got a reason to watch England again.
Yeah.
It got to the point where there was too many. It was too Spursy, too many Chelsea players, and it's just like Man United players. I'm like, I don't want to watch this. My own players are playing this, and it's extra.
I hear you, Lottie. You're watching England. Saka will play, won't he? Yeah,
of course. I think, Gary.
And I think it just helps. As Arsenal fans, it helps when obviously we watch the national side. Whether there's Arsenal players or not, but I think it just helps when. There is a kind of added interest.
Yeah, we got someone to invest in, sort of thing. So
definitely.
But the whole world knows why we love Bukayo so much now.
Yeah, 100%. So we're going to move swiftly on to the Arsenal game. Obviously, that took place on Sunday, and it was a home match against Watford. Obviously, we've been in really, really good form. Unbeaten in 9. We climbed up to 6. In the previous victory, we beat Liverpool. No, sorry, not Liverpool. Hopefully we will. We beat Leicester, Villa, and then Leicester, which, at the time, I was definitely saying that those were tests because, I wasn't massively impressed with the way we'd performed in some of the previous games, even though we didn't lose. But I definitely saw the Villa game as a mini test. I definitely saw the Leicester game as a test, as I think the whole country did. And we came through them pretty comfortable at times. Obviously, there were some really good performances from Arsenal players, but we came through, beat Villa convincingly. At times, Leicester tested us, but the defence held strong and we got a really good victory. So the Watford game was somewhat... I think we were all going into it like really confident in terms of getting a convincing win. Now, before we get into the actual match, I'll bring up, obviously, the starting lineup. And there was a lot of debate with regards to starting lineup in that, we were kind of like, well, look, we played the same side against Villa and Leicester. That kind of, conventional 4-4-2. I know it changes throughout the game, but, your conventional 4-4-2 and the personnel, it seems as though now the team is really taking shape in terms of like the rest of the season. because you can almost literally, select or memorize this side off by heart. Most Arsenal fans, if not all Arsenal fans, could do it. So when the lineup was announced, what were your thoughts, Lottie, with regards to the lineup?
Well, obviously I don't know if you're still playing Fan Hub, G, but obviously my Fan Hub, I didn't have Maitland-Niles, I had Partey. So the last couple of weeks I've got 11-11.
Yeah.
I got 10 out of 11 this week.
Yeah.
But I have to say, Maitland-Niles was phenomenal. He stepped up to the plate for this game and he deserved every minute he played. But other than that, the lineup, I'm happy with it. I'm confident with this team now. I'm comfortable. I can trust them. There's no hairy, scary moments with them. Well, there was one, but
initially when it came out though, what were your? Did you have any type of heart in the mouth or kind of like butterflies in the stomach? The fact that Partey was absent from that midfield.
Yeah, it made me go straight onto Google to see if he was injured.
Yeah,
that was my first instinct.
Yeah,
couldn't see anything. I don't know if there's any news been out since, but obviously he's the senior midfielder that we've got at the moment. With 34 out. So although he is up and running after 41 days, which I will give him his credit for.
Yeah.
So he needs to come back stronger with a sensible head, I think.
Yeah.
Because we're going to need him.
Definitely. I think with regards to the lineup, I think for me, I have to be completely honest. I wasn't watching the game because I was working, but at the same time, when the lineup came up, I was a bit worried about the midfield. I have to be completely honest. For me, it had to be Partey and Lokonga, and when I never saw Partey, I was worried. I know Ainsley Maitland-Niles can do a job in midfield because I previously even said, I still remember when he won Man of the Match performance against Man United at Old Trafford in a 1-0 win. He was absolutely phenomenal. But a lot has happened since then. He's been playing out of position. He's fallen out with Arteta. They seem to have now mended their relationship. And a few times I've seen him this season, he has looked okay. He hasn't really started, but he's looked okay. But it's been in his desired role, which is the midfield, which is quite interesting. But I have to be honest, I was worried because I just, as you said, it is the area that we are lacking the most. And in terms of like senior players who are fit and available, Partey has really kind of carried the midfield this season. We're starting to really see, why we forked out, so much money for him. From what I've heard, I think Arteta was asked a question about Partey, and he said that he is carrying a slight injury, and they haven't actually made a decision about him joining up with the Ghanaian national team. Now, I'm not too sure if this. Yeah, I'm not too sure if this is just mind games. I'm not too sure if maybe he doesn't even have an injury. And we're probably just kind of. I don't know what it is, but. It just seems a little bit kind of coincidental that, we're playing Watford, who is a team we probably could beat comfortably without him. And then now he's injured, and which means he's going to miss the international break because we've got some big games coming up after the international break.
Liverpool.
Yeah. But other than that, I was pretty happy with the team. I was pretty happy. The back five is the back five we used to. The two Haaland boys on either wing, and obviously, the two senior, daddies of the team up top. So I was pretty happy with that team.
Do you know what? It's just so great to see them playing alongside each other. Yeah. I think between me and you, and probably Stephen, I hope he agrees with this. If you're watching, Stephen, I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but one of our biggest complaints is that there were two strangers on the pitch last season.
Yeah. It's a weird old relationship between those two, isn't it?
No, it's working. I don't know what's happened, but it works.
But it begs the question, though, why it's not been... because there was a period in time, particularly under the Emery administration, where, they were firing on all cylinders and they were playing really, really well together. And all of a sudden, they've always had a really good relationship off the pitch. But then all of a sudden, we kind of abandoned playing them together. Yeah. And then now we're playing them together and it's all working. So it just kind of begs the question why there was this long period in between where we just didn't play the two of them together. It's just strange.
Definitely agree. But you've also got to think about it. It's like it's the international break. But it's also, if you look at the England team, I'm going to use them for an example. I mean, today, Luke Shaw's going to pull out. Mason Mount, Ward-Prowse, Rashford, they've all pulled out. Is this the club saying, no, we don't want you to go play? Or are they generally injured?
Well, this is what I mean.
Mason Mount's been ill, which I understand. Rashford hasn't had a full 90 minutes. He's nowhere near fit. The other two, though, they've been playing completely the same. So it probably is mind games.
This is what I mean, though. I just think
that's really handy when it comes to Liverpool.
I just think where the season is so delicately,
Salah's going to have the front of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The season is so delicately poised for a lot of these kind of I wouldn't even necessarily say bigger teams, but it's just delicately poised for so many sides that I just think, particularly for us, you know, we know infamously that we don't have that squad depth that maybe, you know, a Man City have or a Chelsea have. So, you know, for us, you know, the worst thing that could happen, you know, touch wood, is for us to have, you know, half a dozen, you know, first team players going out for the international break and then picking up knocks, because then we absolutely screwed for the Liverpool game, Newcastle, and then Manchester United. So I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying there's any funny business going on, but I just know what, you know, when there's a lot of money involved, you know, there's a lot of money involved in football. There's a lot of pressure on these clubs, these players, and these managers. I wouldn't put it past them if, you know, some of these players are pulling out, you know, particularly if the games for their international sides are not as significant in terms of if their club's already kind of qualified, or if the game doesn't really have any kind of real kind of significance. So, but we'll see. So,
G, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
How good is the Amazon Prime program coming up going to be?
It's going to be amazing, because boy, it didn't start well, did it?
No. I'm just sitting here thinking, I just wonder what you think.
No, it's well, so far it's going to be a very interesting tale, because we started the season. I don't think we could have started the season in any worse situation, given the injuries, COVID, and then obviously the results: no goals scored, 3 games lost, etc. So, but the turnaround next 10 games has been absolutely phenomenal. And you know, for somebody who's been quite critical of Arsenal and Arteta, I'm happy, you know, and that's the thing with me. Like, if I'm looking at the team and the way they're performing, and they're performing the way I want them to perform, or the way I believe they can perform, I'm not going to have a negative word to say. You know, there's a lot of Arsenal fans out there now that, you know, we'll go into it a little bit later, that are kind of, for what I call, you know, they're kind of just almost like, you know, pulling at strings. It's like there's nothing to be negative about, but they're holding on to, like, whether it's Aubameyang's form or whether it's something else. And I'm like, you know what? You can nitpick on all those little things. Like with everything, you can always find something to be negative about. But while we're winning and we're not conceding goals and we're climbing the table, just enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? Just enjoy it. Like, forget, forget getting on the back of, you know, one player, or getting on the back of, you know, one incident. Just enjoy the fact that we're winning games. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, exactly. The thing is, with Arsenal fans, it's very difficult. Always said the away support's better than the home support. Always. And I've just seen the person I was just talking about pop up in the chat.
Okay, we'll go to the chat now. So sometimes Arteta complicates, for Gary, he complicates things. Sometimes the easiest decision is the best one. I know many have asked for 4-4-2. And that's something that my cousin, who was a Spurs fan, came on G Talks last week, and he kind of had a little bit of a dig at Arteta, as he would be in a Spurs fan. But you know what? At the end of the day, we were calling. This is the thing about Arsenal fans. We were saying to Arteta to switch it up, to change things, because we'd get better results. Now he's doing it. There's no point slating him for it.
G, I'm sure he's watching you. I'm sure he's watching us. I'm sure he's watching you, because you're his biggest critic. Here he is.
There we go. Ben Bennett. Good luck to the boys, but fingers crossed everyone comes back fully fit and ready for Anfield. 100%, Ben. Sorry, evening to you both. No problem at all. I know you just want to get stuck into the Arsenal chat, so it's cool. And Tom, too much negativity. Ride the wave and enjoy it. 100%. And that kind of brings us, obviously, onto the actual game itself. Now, I have to admit, Lottie, as I said, I didn't watch the game. I was working. So I caught the highlights. So I kind of know the gist of the major incidents that happened. But you was obviously at the game. And we will cover fan favourites. I haven't forgotten. I did forget at the beginning of the show, but we'll cover some of those images at the end of the show. But obviously, you were at the game. So, you were at the game. You were soaking up the atmosphere. In terms of how the game started, just kind of give us your opinion with regards, how we came out of the blocks for this match.
Yeah, no, obviously we came out. We did our remembrance, and I've remembrance piece. It was just, I don't know what it is every time. I like going to Remembrance Sunday's games because it's just the sound and it's just like the silence. It's chilling, but in a good way, because I think it's really important to remember our own Arsenal fans.
Yeah.
And because if you look back to where we started, we lost a lot of our players in the wars. So it's important to remember them as well as everybody then back then and now, and still is fighting out there. Yeah. I just think it's really important. So as soon as that minute silence stopped, where I was sitting in the clock end, it lit up with noise.
Yeah.
Singing for the Arsenal. The drum started going, and it was just like, yes, let's do this.
Yeah.
So, but it was nice, and I was in block 24, 25. Nice and noisy for me. I'm happy. As you probably saw, people, there was no complaints from me.
Yeah.
So, we started really well. I mean, there's some of the shots I don't know how they didn't go in. It was just like literally hitting the brickwork time after time.
Yeah.
And then we kind of settled in. We took the game to them.
Yeah.
So
no worries. And obviously
on
the 8th minute, like I said, I wasn't watching the game, but I got the notification.
I wasn't watching the clock. So
that we'd actually taken the lead. And then obviously I've watched it back. And obviously there was some build-up play. Like you said, it was a pretty dominant performance from the first kickoff. But the ball kind of fell to Aubameyang in the box. And what was a really poor touch, really, meant that it actually fell to the feet of Saka and he put it in. Any complaints with the fact that goal was ruled offside?
Oh, well, it's the only time VAR works is when we score. Come on, be serious. It doesn't work any other time.
Yeah.
To be honest, from where I was sitting, obviously I was behind the goal. I was face on. Didn't look. I think it was ruled offside, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
It didn't look offside to me. It looked fine. But if I was sitting further around in the boring blocks, I would have seen.
Yeah.
Because you guys have seen pictures where I've sat before.
Yeah.
And where I was today, I was face on, and it didn't look offside to me.
Yeah. No problem. So obviously the game progressed. When I saw the fact that the goal was disallowed, I thought, well, look, at least the fact that we've kind of come close to scoring or officially scored tells me that we were kind of in the ascendancy at that point. It seemed as though, from watching the highlights, that it was all of us, kind of in the first moments of the game. And then obviously on the 36th minute, there was an incident. That's what I'll call it, an incident in the box between obviously Lacazette and Danny Rose. Now, before what we're going to do tonight, we're going to do something tonight which is a little bit different. But before we actually go to some video footage that Lottie exclusively got from at the stadium, I just want your thoughts on that ridiculous challenge, UFC stunt. I don't know what it was. Boxing match, headbutt. I don't know what it was, but what was your thoughts with regards to that penalty? Was it a penalty?
Yeah. Hell yes. I mean, it's Danny Rose.
Yeah.
He's because he's played for that 2 Bob mob up the road. We don't like him. You can move on from the club, but we're not going to like you.
Yeah.
It's the same with Andros Townsend. He's moved everywhere, but he's still predominantly a Spurs player. End of.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what he was playing at. Absolutely, but you guys will hear. Oh no, it wasn't. It wasn't. I don't know how we didn't get a red card in this game. It was ridiculous. I mean, was it Kevin? Was it Kevin Friend? Yesterday, he's absolutely useless. We've moaned about the referee in England. It's been appalling. But it was a penalty all day long. But good news, Arsenal fans, we did get our own back. You'll hear this in a second.
Definitely. And what we're going to do now, give me a second, because obviously when I put this on the screen, I'm going to share it. So we're going to get some exclusive footage from the actual stadium. Lottie got this and it's absolutely fabulous. So I'm going to put it on now.
On my new iPhone 13 Pro, the camera is absolutely worth it, guys. Trust me.
Brilliant. So what we're going to watch now is going to watch some footage of the actual penalty taking place. Obviously, I will let the video do the talking. Enjoy, guys. Well, I don't know if you're going to enjoy it because it wasn't great from Uber, but it is some exclusive footage.
Can hear me over on the over talk there.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can definitely hear you.
I do put off. You can hear my commentary to George as well. We didn't get an audio headphone, so. Taking out Andrew. Yeah.
There we have it. So obviously, you know, as we said, let me just move this back over so I'm actually looking at the screen.
We can see you, Jay. Don't worry, we can see you.
I know you can see me, but I have to move the screen to the other side so it doesn't look
I see
at the camera. But yeah, so with regards that, obviously, you know, Stonewall penalty. Obviously, Aubameyang stepped up, and you know, at this point, obviously, he's not having the greatest game, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Obviously, he had a bit of a mistouch with the Saka goal, because had he controlled it at that point, he would have had practically an easy tap in. Saka wouldn't. He didn't
need to touch it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Now, obviously, the penalty steps up. You know, on the 36th minute, he takes the penalty. And how were you feeling at this point? Because we've been pretty dominant, but we have gotten a golden opportunity to go 1-0 up, and we've squandered it. So what was the mood in the stadium
at the time? Oh, well, you heard the Watford fans. It's the first time we heard them all game. So they were just ecstatic. Obviously, it didn't go in. They were ecstatic that the other goal was like. It's the only time we heard them, and it was just like, do you know what? I thought about it. I thought, do you know what? We've still got time. Second half to come. That goal is coming, and it was a case of, okay, move on, let's go again. For me at the time, but now I look back at it, and I am at that point where I don't want Aubameyang taking penalties. That's 2 in a row now. Lacazette should be top of that pecking order.
We will definitely be looking a little bit closer and discussing like Aubameyang's overall performance, because it wasn't the best day for him at the office with regards to this game. So obviously the first half came and went. Half time, like I said, you was at the game. I wasn't. I was kind of following it on my phone, and I kind of thought to myself, 0-0 half time's not the greatest scoreline, but I could see from the halftime stats that, you know, we were the better side, we were the dominant team out of the two, but obviously for whatever reason we hadn't got the goal. Now, fast forward to the 56th minute. Again, Arsenal started the second half from what I could see really, really well, and there's kind of two. Obviously, we'll discuss part of this, and then there's another conversation to be had. So on the 56th minute, what I saw was absolutely great play by Ben White. He picks up the ball off a Watford player. He jinks past, you know, another Watford player, and then a little bit of luck with the ricochet. Obviously, fell to the feet of this man, and there he goes. Bish, bash, bosh. Another goal for Smith Rowe. Oh, that rhymes.
Yep, it does. Ding, ding, goal 4 in the league, more than Harry Kane. Ding, ding.
Tell me, what was the feeling like? What was the
I almost lost my phone.
Reaction to this goal?
I almost lost my phone. I wasn't filming it, but I almost dropped it, and I caught it in time. I was celebrating. I was like, it would have been the first time I dropped it, but it was just, it was brilliant. And obviously, as soon as that went in, I like it. It just lit up the clock end. Didn't care about the rest of the ground. Clock end, it just lit up. Drum was going, and it was brilliant. I mean, I showed you the other video I took. You've seen the footage for that, and then it all went into, and it's Arsenal FC, by far the world's greatest team. Get my words out. And it's Arsenal, by far the world's greatest team. By far the greatest team the world's ever seen. Sorry, my brain's not in gear. I'm so sorry, guys.
No problem.
And it was just great. It was great. It was just like 1-0 to the Arsenal. Then Watford tried to pipe up, and it was like we kind of flipped one of their songs. One of their songs goes na 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 na, and then we flipped it into your bleep. I won't say the word. You can work it out, guys. And it was good atmosphere. And then obviously 1-0 to the Arsenal came up, and do you know what? I was so pleased not to hear any Tottenham songs. Oh, it was so great.
It's been dragging on since the North London derby.
They don't even sing about us. I don't understand it. I know Ben in the chat will agree with this as well. Yeah. So
no worries. So obviously
it's just electric.
1-0 up at that point, obviously fully deserved. We're actually in a dominant position, and we got the goal that we deserved. Before we kind of move on to the next topic, because it does surround this goal, I'm going to have a conversation about it, because it was something that I know Ranieri and Arteta had their differences at the end of the game, so we will talk about it, because there are two very contrasting opinions with regards to the incident. But we'll go to the comments and we'll bang through some of these very quickly because they are building up. Mikey, how did Danny Rose not get a red card? I have literally no idea, because he basically assaulted Lacazette.
Yeah,
crazy. Ben up the drum, fantastic. Tom, some Doris next to me was scoffing a hot dog for about 10 minutes. I thought, hurry up, love. I thought we got some cheering to be doing.
I believe Tommy was up the North Bank.
Okay.
I believe he was opposite end of the pitch to me.
Gary, Danny let official know that the same would happen to him if a card came out. Gary, also an incident. Fran from FFTV said the same. It was a crime, or are things different on your side of the pond? It was just
technically, it could be passed as an assault on the street. That's assault.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Was it a penalty? Haha, someone called the police like I had just been assaulted. I was literally taking a mick. Trust me, Tom, I was taking a mick when I asked that question. Ben, we've got penalty, but clumsy. Shame Uber couldn't score it, and he got a red. The performance he deserved. Ben, again, that's my seat.
Yeah, I think he sits a little bit in front of where I'm sitting. So
BX Gunner 81. I'm not sure if I've seen that name.
No, that's a new one. That's a new one.
Welcome. So welcome to the channel. If you are here for the first time, if you have watched but not commented before, apologies that we've missed you. But welcome to the show. Uber missing in games is inexcusable now. ESR. So Gary, ESR's last 2 goals have been on ball lost in the box that fell to him. Glad we have presence in the box. That is very true. He seems to, and that's something that we said when he wasn't scoring goals, is that he seems to always be able to find the pockets, find himself in really good positions. But whereas before he wasn't converting, now he is, which is great.
Yeah. The thing is, it takes, as we've said before, he's 21 now? He's just turned 21, I think. And he needs that time, but we need him to hurry up. So getting England time as well is going to help.
Yeah. Definitely.
He scored on the last break for the under 23s.
Yeah.
So, and I said to him, he needs to break back, and he has.
Yeah.
So definitely. He's listening. He's definitely listening.
Yeah, he is. He is. Keep talking, man, because he's listening.
I will.
Keith, off to do the bedtime rituals with the mini-me's. Great show, guys. Later, G, Lottie, and chat. I'll catch the rest later. No problem, Keith. Good luck with daddy duties. Next one, we have BX Gunner 81. ESR has definitely caught a sniff on goal because he's on it, 100%. And Ben 100% agrees.
Yeah.
We've got BX Gunner again. 3 points. We're well worth it, because without the goal, we don't win. I'll take the shameless label if it means 3 points, 100%. Tom, I'm up in the North Bank. Hello, BX Gunner 81, chasing you around today. BX Gunner, first time viewer. Excellent. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Really, really good to have you for the first time. Haha, Gary, playing tag, I see. And lastly, before we move on, Odegaard, great when he came on. Hardly got a mention today. That is very true. That is very true.
He was actually switched on that game.
Yeah.
But there was obviously so much going on. I was watching, but
I get you.
It's a case of watching the game back for me. But
to go back to the goal incident, Watford had put the ball out of play because one of their players, I can't remember the player's name, but one of their players had gone down injured. Now, obviously, there's a difference of opinion. There's no rule in the English football, that says you have to give the ball back. But it is somewhat of a tradition. It is somewhat of a gentleman thing to do during the game
Respect.
where if you put the ball out, you return the ball. Now, Arsenal didn't. And I remember this happened famously I think it was an FA Cup tie back in the day with Arsenal. And I think it was Wiltord. Kanu picked up the ball when it was supposed, I think it was against Sheffield United, I believe. And he picked up the ball, he squared it to Wiltord, and I think it was against Sheffield United, and we scored. And the tie was actually replayed, if I believe or not. Yeah. Now, what is your opinion with regards to this? Like, was it unsporting of Arsenal to not return the ball to Watford? Because obviously this is a big moment because we scored from that incident, and which has led to us winning the game and getting 3 points. So, was it unsporting of us? And does Ranieri have a point to be to claim Arsenal as being disrespectful, to not adhere to the traditions of the game?
Do you know what? I think Arsenal hat on. I don't care. I don't care. We got the goal. That's it. It stood. It's ultimately up to VAR and the ref's decision. They gave it to us. So, footballing hat on. We should be. We carry ourselves with class anyway. We should know better.
Yeah.
But if it means taking the 3 points, I do not care.
Yeah.
3 points is 3 points. Man United now can continue talking about us because we're now above them. And we're back on that 0.
Yeah,
we do not have a negative goal difference.
Definitely.
So I don't care. I shamelessly take them.
I'm split on this one, and the reason why I'm split is I feel as though if it had happened to us, I wouldn't have liked it. At the same time, the fact that the reason why I don't mind it is because it wasn't as if Watford were off guard. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't as if they were off guard. It wasn't like the Arsenal players, threw the ball and the Watford players were just standing still and we basically walked the ball into the net. It wasn't like that. That wasn't the scenario. I know the traditions of the game is to gentlemanly play it back to the Watford team, but I just feel like Watford had all their players back. Arsenal, for whatever reason, didn't play the ball back, but Watford were in position. They were structured and they were playing. It's not like when Arsenal threw the ball and started playing that they started, talking to the ref saying, why are they not giving us back the ball? They were happy. They happily played on with the game. It was only when Arsenal scored the goal, it actually became a problem. So on one side, I understand Ranieri's and Watford's grievances, the fact that we didn't actually give it back to them. On the other side was, well, if you were okay with playing on with the game, and we didn't score, you wouldn't have cared. The fact is, we played on with the game. You were happy to play on with the game. Because we scored, that's where the frustration came. So that's why I'm split, to be honest.
Do you know what? It's a shameful, like people say it's a shameful 3 points, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't. I mean...
And we've got some similar opinions as well in the chat. So Mikey's saying here, I don't think it was. We have been too soft in the past. And I think that's something Arteta said. He said, in the past we've been almost like too nice and too naive. And we kind of allow ourselves to be taken advantage of.
Yeah, no, it's also a class thing. It's like we're not stooping down to your level sort of vibe.
Yeah.
So
and Mr. Sparks here says, the guys were throwing themselves all the time. The guy wasn't injured. He received no treatment, so no case, no answer. And that's what I mean. I don't think they had any case because when we started playing, they were playing. Do you know what I mean? That it's not like they were objecting or anything like that. They were happy to play the game on. And had they got the ball, imagine had they intercepted the ball and scored at the other end, would they have complained? No. There you go. Do you know what I mean?
They would be winning.
Exactly.
I don't mean to be funny. They're going down. They're going down.
They are.
Come back up. They're one of those yo-yo clubs, so they're going back down this shit.
Gary says here, as I recall, Arsenal didn't score on the throw-in, and Watford got a touch on the ball during the sequence of play, and they were playing rugby, so 100%.
Well, they were dressed like rugby stars, Gary. Do you think they qualify?
Yeah. Mr. Sparks, we need a Millwall-style chant. No one likes us, and we don't care.
James, can have a chat to Ben. Ben will come up with something. He's in the chat.
There you go. Stephen, good evening, Stephen. Glad you're watching. To be fair, Danny Rhodes is so crap, they probably didn't know he had kicked it out on purpose. Stephen at his best. They did all throw their hands up after the throw, though, in fairness. Okay, I probably missed that. I was probably just concentrating on Arsenal having the ball at their feet.
Yeah.
It should have been out of sight and shows more strong of an attitude. Tom, my own take on it was their players were going down like toy soldiers nearly all the match. They were like the boys who cried wolf. You didn't know if they were injured or not most of the time.
Yeah, and the player that drove me mad. Oh, what was his name? He's a mixed race guy, and he's bleached his hair blonde.
Yeah.
He drove me up the wall. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But he was on the floor every 5 minutes, throwing himself everywhere.
Yeah. And these guys, you have actually corrected me. You're right. It was Overmars. Canu squared the ball to Overmars in the FA Cup tie. I believe it was against Sheffield United. And thank you, Ben. Thank you, Tom. It was Overmars. Ben, it went to a replay. That's right. It wasn't replayed. I think it was an equalizer for Arsenal or something like that. So thank you guys for...
sounds like they threw their toys out the pram.
I can always rely on you guys to correct me if I'm wrong, which is good. So yeah, fast forward, obviously, from that incident. Aubameyang topped off what was probably his poorest performance for a while, albeit he is our top goal scorer, and I think Arsenal fans will say that, he might not be banging in as many goals as we'd like this season. At the same time, he's our top goal scorer, and I think there's definitely been an improvement in terms of his performances and effort, but he didn't have a good day at the office on Sunday. So we had the original poor touch, which led to the offside goal. We had the penalty miss, obviously, in 36th minute. And then on the 74th minute, Odegaard came on and somebody pointed out he was really good. He made some space. He shot for the far post and it looked as though it was going to find the net or was going to be pretty close. But Aubameyang, maybe arguably as all instinctively strikers do, he stuck his foot out and he made sure the ball went into the net. But unfortunately, he was in an offside position. Yeah. Now, just bringing up, obviously, this image, it's not the best image, but it just kind of sums up Aubameyang's day, really. Obviously, that would have been the goal that kind of sealed the victory at that point. And I think at that point, we really did need a second goal. But what did you make of Aubameyang's performance? Because, yeah, it wasn't the greatest, was it?
No, as I said earlier, he shouldn't be taking penalties. Laka should be ahead of him. If Pepe's on that pitch, he should be ahead of him as well. I just don't know what it was. I mean, that touch, well, obviously it was down the North Bank. I had to watch it on. I watched it on the screens that are above my head, and it was like maybe a foot. Like his foot was just like a foot, the size of his foot away from it. And I'm like, how you're world-class striker? How the hell did you miss that? It's not like he's slow because he's quick. He's got cat-like reflexes most of the time, but I think it was just probably mistimed. If I'm honest with you, his reaction was ridiculous. Yeah. But again, phenomenal, brilliant cross from Odegaard. As Ben said earlier, he hasn't been praised enough for that game at all. So.
But I think with Aubameyang, and that's what I said, I think as Arsenal fans, we can always kind of nitpick on something. So, I'm not going to spend too much time on it because from what I've seen from Aubameyang, there's definitely been an increase in his effort and his performance this season. And, he is 32. He probably is on the decline in terms of, his ability.
A little bit slower though, please.
I think what we want from Aubameyang, is, and I think what all Arsenal fans and all football fans want from players that represent their team is that even if you're not scoring, even if you're not performing well, we just want to see the effort. We want to see, the pride and the passion for playing for the team. And we've definitely seen more of that this season than we did last season. So, you know what? Big up Aubameyang. He didn't have a good day at the office, but he's still a goal scorer and we still love you, mate. So
literally him, Lacazette and Ramsdale, they could hear the clock end singing and they come on, louder. So it's nice as fans to be acknowledged.
Yeah.
So, whereas not a lot of the players do. You don't see players revving up the crowd. The thing is, we like Ramsdale, Lacazette, they thrive on noise. Aubameyang's always done that, and that's what he really missed last season. And now he's got it. That ground needs to get behind him. I know it's the home ground I'm complaining about. Nothing to do with the away fans.
Yeah,
it is home ground. Like even if it means moving the family enclosure, because if you move them round, you'll get room in for the boys and women who want to sing, and having one end will be brilliant.
Mm.
And it just changes the whole atmosphere of the ground. But it's all political. You have to go up to Arsenal and say, look, you need to do this. They're not going to pay any attention if you don't. Because where they put the family enclosure, it's a good set of seats.
Yeah. I hear you. Cool. Ben, we'll go back to the comments, and before we move on, we agreed to play a rematch straight after full time against Sheffield United. Yeah, I knew there was an incident similar back in the day, so thank you guys for clearing it up. Next we have, my mouse has decided to freeze, but now it's working. How did they commit over 4 times as many fouls and receive the same amount of bookings? Yeah, it was crazy.
No, I know they did. I don't get it, but I really don't get it. Doesn't make sense.
It was crazy. It was. How we had we been 3-0 up, we might have given it back yesterday.
Yeah.
Probably a good shout. It was going in. He laid on the floor and he apologized. Yeah, and I think that's the end of it, really. You know, Aubameyang. You know, he held his hands up and he knew he'd made a mistake. So you know, we move. Mikey, shout out for Nuno Tavares. Also, Tavares is doing exactly what we bought him for, which is to be an absolutely fantastic replacement for Tierney. It was disappointing because he knew when he was looking across the line he was offside. He must have would have tapped the inside of the post and gone in. I think it definitely was going to go in. Foster was so damn lucky though, but poor penalty. Ben, no one likes us. We don't care.
Yes, I heard this one yesterday. I need to get the tune to that. I heard that one. They were singing that, but I haven't got all the words yet. So that is one of them.
Albert JTV, Albert, big up Albert. Good evening, Gooners. Shout out to Maitland Niles for a very solid performance in midfield. Tommy Asu and Ben White were class yesterday. There were some really good performances across 90 minutes. 100%. To be fair, when he missed the penalty shortly after, we were all cheering his name, getting behind him. Yes, and that's what we love to see. That's what we love to see. And lastly, Albert JTV, big up, bro. Smash the likes. And last but not least, Albert. Right, so obviously, you know, we're going to move on to kind of just summarizing up the game shortly. But, you know, there is something that's kind of come up in the chat. It came up during the game, after the game, etc. There was obviously, you know, it was a feisty old affair, you know, this game, mainly to do with the way Watford were playing. But I think what I was most impressed with Arsenal was the fact that we kind of stood up to it. And just kind of gave as good as we could get. But yeah, we were basically getting kicked all over the field, kicked across the field at every given opportunity. Do you feel that was a very deliberate tactic from Watford to try and just kind of intimidate us and use it as a tactic to obviously win this game?
Let's be honest. Since they've lost Troy Deeney, who are they really?
Yeah.
Who are they really, you know? So it's just... I expect that from them. They're back, and they think they're staying up. They're not staying up for me personally anymore. So I don't know what else I can say on the subject. I mean, I expect it from them. I expect it from them.
I think sometimes, you know me, I like to. Do
you know what I mean? It's as much as I like Leeds as a team, that's the quality I expect.
Yeah. You know what it is for me? Yeah, I like to. Sometimes I just like to play devil's advocate, and it's like, I think it's easy when you support a team like Arsenal or you support a team like Chelsea or Man City, and, you know, it's easy to say, oh, you know, look at the way Stoke play or Burnley play or Watford play. Sometimes we have to remember that, you know, we do have significantly better squads than these players. And I remember playing Saturday and Sunday league football and being told by, you know, countless coaches, you know, to, you know, stick it on them, you know, be tough in a tackle, rough them up, intimidate them. It's kind of like a generally used tactic, you know, when you are playing a team that ability-wise is a lot better than you. So we understand, obviously, as Arsenal fans, we hate it when we're on the receiving end of it because... you know, obviously, you know, it can impact, you know, the health and safety of our players. But at the same time, you know, can we really blame the likes of, you know, Watford and the Brentfords for playing, you know, a more kind of rough style play than we necessarily would? Can we really come down on them too hard for that tactic?
Not really, because that's what the Championship's like. That's how they got here. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys, my voice is going again. That's literally... where it comes from. I mean, these smaller teams wouldn't be. Yes, these teams wouldn't be here if they hadn't competed in the Championship. They've got better refereeing down there, and there's no VAR either, so they will play like that. That's proper football.
Yeah.
So it's one of the reasons why I still enjoy watching the Championship as well. I also managed to watch some League One as well, but as much as I love the Premiership, the rules are becoming blurry. The VAR is not working, and it's taking the joy out of the debates. Like, was that really offside? Was it onside? Should it have been a goal? Should it have been a penalty? And I do miss those conversations. I think it's one of the reasons why I've really enjoyed the Carabao Cup this year. Up until this next round, there's been no VAR.
Yeah.
And it's been brilliant, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
But what can you say? This is how they play, and that's the end of it. They've been allowed to play like it. You're going to stick it on the big teams. Do you know what I mean?
And you're going to have a contrast of styles of play in the Premier League. You know, you're going to have that. You know, not all teams can play tiki-taka football. Not all teams will play long ball. Some will be, you know, a little bit soft. And that's something that we've been accused of, you know. While we might criticize Watford and say, you know, Watford played too rough and, you know, they were too heavy in the tackle, etc. Like, we've been massively accused of being too soft over the years and have wanted our players to be a lot more tougher and a lot more harder in the tackle. So I think, you know what, I do agree that some of the stuff Watford were doing were very dangerous for both players, their players and our players. At the same time, I do think, you know, playing in the most competitive league in the world, in the Premier League, you're going to have contrasts of style. So I think that's why the refs are there, isn't it, for me? That's why they should be there. If anything is borderline or anything is not in the spirit of the game, then it should be, punished with a yellow card or a red card. But I'm not against aggressive play. I was quite an aggressive player myself. Some of the best players in the world that I admire or inspired by have been aggressive players. So I'm not too fussed with that style of play, as long as it doesn't affect, you know, the kind of long-term health and safety of the players. Then I'm all up for that. But just to kind of obviously summarize,
it doesn't cause any injuries and doesn't cause any injuries.
That's it. If it doesn't cause injuries, then I'm all for strong play. But in terms of obviously summarizing the game, so I think the 1-0 scoreline was completely misleading. And I know I've seen a lot of stuff over the weekend about Arsenal fans saying, you know, we kind of got away lucky, we got a 1-0 win, except there's kind of two narratives. You know, there's a narrative that I feel like me and you are both on the same page, in that it was a really good performance. We dominated, you know, we had 61% possession. We had double the amount of shots that Watford had. And we basically beat them in every stat of the game possible. But obviously the 1-0 suggests that it was a close affair. Now, what's your thoughts, just to sum up the performance, and obviously the fact that we got 3 points and we're now sitting 5th in the table? If you can just summarize the game and your thoughts in a couple of sentences.
If we're gonna play to win, if it means playing ugly, just do it. 3 points is 3 points.
Yep.
And that's the easiest way to sum it up.
No, it's true. It's true. While we're winning, why complain?
Yeah, win ugly.
Yeah.
As long as no one gets sent off, it's good. Take a yellow for the team, fine. If it secures the win, fine. Just don't do it too constantly, because after 5 you get a ban. So just be careful.
Makes sense. We'll go to the comments before we kind of round everything, because we've kind of rounded everything up in terms of games. But we are going to do fans' photos as promised, and we're going to obviously cover off some of the sub-challenge socials and obviously give you some information with regards.
And I've got an announcement.
The shows, and obviously Lottie's got an announcement, which is great. So we'll come to the comments, we'll round things up, and then we'll do some of our announcements before we move on to coming off live. So Tom here, they won't stay out parking the bus most of the game, and their left back and left winger kept getting in each other's way every time they did get past the halfway line. Enjoy the Championship. I'll leave the last word out. Mr. Sparks, VAR and the ref bias really is a joke. I thought the advantage was going to the attack on offsides too, but again, it's a judgment call. Can we all just have some rules? And Ben, win ugly. Love to have the tag back onto us again. Been a long time, 100%. And lastly, literally no protection for Arsenal players in general, to be honest. Should have been red in all recent games.
Do you think they do it because we're Arsenal?
I've always said,
and we've got such a reactionary fan base.
I think somewhat I'm biased because I probably don't watch enough of the other teams to say to actually say if there is an Arsenal agenda, but I feel there is, because I just feel like consistently we just don't get the rub of the green when it comes to VAR. When I was looking at stats last season, we were literally bottom of the table in terms of VAR decisions for us, and we were at the top of the table for VAR decisions against us. So it's just I know somebody's got to be at the top or the bottom of the table, but it just so like how can you have both? How can you have the same team at both ends of the table? When it comes to VAR decisions, it's just ridiculous. So I believe, I might be biased, and to be honest, I don't care. I'm an Arsenal fan, but I feel as though there is an agenda against Arsenal when it comes to officiating, because it can't be this consistently bad, for us season after season after season. So I definitely feel there is a certain level of biasness because let's face it, refs are just people, and people in general can be biased. So
I don't know if you caught any of the West Ham Liverpool game. There was. Did you see the Cresswell incident? If
yes,
that was 34, that would have been a red.
Yes, I did.
That is my main
I did see it.
issue.
Yeah, I did see it.
With VAR. It doesn't work. There's no consistency. He got that red card because of his reputation. I'm not defending the guy because I can't stand him, but it's just fact. Because I know a couple of our regulars that are on here will say, "Oh, you're defending him now, lots." No, I'm not. Yeah. But it's his reputation. He's notorious for it. And if you look at the way Cresswell went in, his foot was above the ball. Did not touch the ball.
Yeah.
Should have been sent off. He got very lucky in that game.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is, man. There's no consistency. Mikey, thank you for the question. We're not going to cover the takeover talk tonight, but we will cover it hopefully on some other future shows. Yeah.
G, Mikey, if you want to have something to read, I've got a blog on that. I've did a load of research, and there's a blog on my blog page. I will give you the link after it, or you can go onto my Twitter page. Just click the link and go and have a read of what I think anyway.
Excellent. Thank you, Lottie. Cresswell should have been sent off in the Liverpool game. Yeah, it was a horrendous challenge. Although he got the ball initially, he followed through, and it was dangerous tackle. Well done, Gunners. Don't know about the foul on Sarr by Maitland-Niles.
We've got Tottenham fan in the house.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't see it. Don't care. We won. You guys drew. I'm joking.
It's
the game
out
of control. And thank you, Lottie. No problem. But Mikey, like I said, we will cover that. It's something I've actually been meaning to cover. So between my show and an announcement coming a little bit later on in this show, it's something we definitely will cover. Because to be honest, the Newcastle takeover and the kind of monetization of football and corruption in football, we could be here for hours. So we will definitely devote a show to that topic. So we definitely will come back to that. And there we are. It's all love. A little bit anyway.
Only on international breaks.
Yeah. Should have been 4 to 5 years yesterday, but we will always take a 1-0. Definitely.
Always.
Right. Now, so we basically summed up everything, but we're gonna quickly go to something that I had planned to do at the beginning of the show, but for whatever reason I forgot. And we're gonna go to fans' photos. Now, this is something that I think it was Lottie, I think it was your idea, also a little bit of Stevens. You guys came up with this, what is a fantastic idea, which is to share the moments of Arsenal fans, with other Arsenal fans, pre-game, during the game, and post-game. So, Lottie, I will leave you to take it away.
No, so this weekend was a bit special. There was a lot of people coming down. We had the wonderful G who's in this picture. She came all the way up from Penzance on her train. She got her train back today. G, if you're watching this back, this is the best photo of us. I think this was taken about 11:30 a.m. in the pins. We were there at opening time at 11 a.m. after we had a full English breakfast. And we've got Miss Sparks who's in the chat. We've got James Warren and another James. So it's Warren in between the two Jameses. That was post-match. It was really nice to see Sparks as well again. This was pre-match with the boys. Got Jay, got Alex, and over the back you got Weasel and Grizz. They didn't know I was taking a photograph, but I think it's just a brilliant face. They're not going to forgive me for putting this on, but and this is the Star Strike Force. You got Guna Souls, who came down from Manchester, myself, beautiful G from Penzance, and of course the one and only Albert JTV. If you're still in the chat, mate, I had to use this photo. We planned this about 2 months ago for all of us to meet up for the first time. Incredible. Again, got Weasel. As you can see, this was Weasel, Warren, and Grizz. As you can see, guys, this was opening time. It's empty compared to the other photos. It's empty. Yeah, Souls and Albert, they got their first picture taken. I mean, these guys have been doing content for goodness how long, and they finally met up, which is brilliant.
Brilliant, man. And I think this is the last one.
The last one.
If it's going to play for me. Yeah, here we go.
This one is obviously Albert and Kevin Campbell. I missed Kevin Campbell at the 12 pins. I am absolutely gutted. I missed him, but well done, Albert, getting a picture with the one and only Kevin Campbell.
Definitely.
I mean, there's footage of him in 12 pins, leading the Arsenal fans in the songs. If you haven't seen it, guys, have a scroll through Twitter. It's there somewhere.
Quality. No, really good photos. I think fans' photos is something that we want to do more of, but obviously a lot of it depends on people in the chat and obviously, sending us photos that we can share. And obviously when Lottie's, at the game with, the other Gooners and stuff. So it's something that we won't do every show, but we'll do it as often as we can. So all of you that were featured in the photos, glad you had a great day. And obviously, sharing the photos is really good. And for those of us, particularly that can't get to the game as well, because we can just see, the joy and the excitement and the fun that you guys experience. So, go on.
The next big meetup is going to be getting you and Stephen to London.
I know.
Huge. I can't wait. I mean, this one went so well.
I'm ready for that pick up,
No, it's not even that. Like, it's just the atmosphere of like going to the ground, just being around people you've spoke to. Because none of us have met yet. That's the irony and everything. And
I know, it's so crazy.
You wouldn't think that.
That's what's so mind-boggling about this whole thing is that all these people that I interact with, like obviously on Twitter, on you've got Instagram, on the DMs, people in the chat. I've not actually physically met any of them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or the vast majority. So me and Stephen definitely have to come down, and that would be one hell of a really exciting experience.
Yeah. I talked to Ben, who's in the chat tonight, a lot, and I still haven't met him.
Yeah,
I still haven't met him, and it's just.
This is the positive side of technology and social media, which is great because you are connected with people, but that's not necessarily in the same area, space, or environment. So
in the world.
It is a good thing. Yeah, it is a good thing. But so guys, that basically sums up the show. But before we go, we do have a roundup of news, information. So I think I'm going to kind of go through a couple of things, and then I'll probably leave it up to you, Lottie, to kind of end the show and so forth. So in terms of sub challenge, so we do have our subscription challenge. Now, we had one back at the beginning of the season, which we didn't quite meet. And that was for to get to 500 subscribers, and Stephen would have bleached blonde hair, beard, and everything. So we didn't quite get there, but we grew in terms of our subscribers. So thank you for subscribing. Those of you who watch us, if you haven't subscribed, please do. Now, our next challenge is fast approaching, and that is for us to reach 1,000 subscribers between now and the 31st of December, 2021. Now, if we reach 1,000 subscribers between now and the 31st of December, I have agreed to bleach blonde my hair, beard, and tash, but I'm not doing the eyebrows. No, Lottie, I knew he was going to do that. I'm not doing it. I'm not agreeing to that. If you haven't subscribed, but you would really love to see me
every time,
please do subscribe. Just do what you need to do to make it happen. And the third part of the challenge is actually takes us into next season. So if we can get to 2,000 subscribers between now and the start of next season, Lottie has agreed, and she can't go back on this, which is she will get a tattoo of choice within reason Okay, so there are some ideas floating around with regards to what the tattoos might be.
Be
But
aware,
yeah,
I've seen none of these, so these two are cooking something up. I'm still waiting for the first initial idea.
yeah.
You know,
So
Stephen,
obviously,
if you're listening, come on, cough it up.
Lottie is from London. I'm originally from London, even though I've recently moved. But I've got a really good friend of mine who owns and runs his own, tattoo parlor or tattoo studio in London. So we've got the venue. All we need is the subscribers, and we've already got generally the ideas. So please, if you know any Arsenal fans that have not subscribed, you think they would really like our content, or if for whatever reason you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe right now. Obviously, sub challenge between now and the end of year if you want to see me with bleach blonde hair, and obviously a tattoo for Lottie by start of next season for us to get to 1,000 and 2,000 subscribers. I know what you're trying to do. And next,
just acknowledging it means you bit him. It's fine. I win again, 2-0 to the Lottie.
Lottie, if you could just run through I don't even know where they are now, our socials quickly before we get on to some really exciting
news. If you want to follow us on Facebook, you just put in your search bar Cannon Child. It's the same with Instagram, but it's Cannon_chatter. Also, we are now on TikTok, so hopefully we'll get some new content out. I mean, I know G's definitely up from some lessons from his daughter how to use it.
I'm up for it.
Hopefully we will be posting on from there. If you want to follow us as a channel, it's obviously at Cannon Child. Or if you want to follow Stephen, who's not here tonight, but will be back very soon, it's at SB Cannon. If you want to follow my co-host, I don't know where I'm pointing, tonight, G Talks Arsenal. He's always got great tweets, or you'll see us bantering against each other as usual on Twitter. Of course, Stephen does get involved with that. So, or if you want to follow myself, it's Lottie_B, 2 T's, 2 I's, because someone nicked the original spelling. I don't actually spell my name with 2 I's. And I am behind with this, but at the moment, I have got my Newcastle takeover thoughts on my blog and what it could potentially mean for Arsenal. And could we actually sell the players that we need to get rid of in order for them to stay up? So make sure you go and check it out, guys. It's a really good read. I've done my research and I've kept it brief because it's not a pretty picture from the research on them owners, I promise you. But if you want to go check that out, it's Lottie AFC.
I keep changing it.
.blogspot.co.uk. No, it's fine. That's fine. Don't worry. As you can see it on the screen. If you're not sure, you can always go and hit me on my Twitter page and it's there.
Cool.
If you want to purchase any merchandise that we've got, so G's modelling the t-shirt tonight. I've actually got the Cannon Chatter hoodie on. You can actually drop us an email at info@cannonchatter.com, or you can DM Stephen on Twitter at SB Cannon Chatter. Lastly, make sure you subscribe, turn on the notifications, and hit that like button.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for doing that, Lottie. Now, the only other bit of news before we move on to a big announcement is that those of you who missed out on the first show last week, we did launch our new show, which was G Talks. So we did a show last week. I was joined by Chris, aka Gunner King, and my cousin Andre, aka I think he was called Harry Payne during the show, but he's since joined Twitter. So we basically discussed one of the kind of ongoing shows that we'll be having on G Talks called Split Opinions, and we basically discussed our opinions on Odegaard and Pepe, two of the most kind of players that divide fan opinion, probably the most out of the current squad. G Talks will be back this Wednesday. So I have confirmed guests. I have confirmed the actual topic that we're going to be discussing. So I will be creating that stream, putting the information out probably tomorrow, no later than Wednesday morning. G Talks is going to be a weekly show. Some weeks we might not be able to do it, mainly to do with guests or availability, etc. But as long as we can kind of get things sorted, we'll be doing it. So for those of you who didn't catch the first episode of G Talks, please do go and watch it back to join myself and my guests and see what we're talking about. We are going to be back Wednesday of this week with another second episode of G Talks. So please do stay tuned for more information with regards to that. And that leaves me nicely to hand over to Lottie for breaking news and obviously the last bit of information of the night. So Lottie, all over to you.
As you've been mentioning on previous shows, Jeez, you know how busy I've been working on stuff. I have finally got my content together. I am going to be back on Friday with the Lottie show, and it's going to be a little bit special because I feel this is not talked about enough. They don't get enough praise, but I am bringing Canon Chatter TV, the Arsenal Ladies show, and my first guests, they're up and ready to go. Guys, if you do enjoy the women's football and you want to get involved, drop me a DM and we'll try and fit you in. I want different guests every week. We're going to be looking at it. We're going to be doing a review of the Champions League game and the season so far, and also look ahead to Saturday's North London derby in the league. Will we be able to retain those 3 points and stay top of the league where we belong like we have all season? Let's hope so.
Brilliant.
Watch out for my
Fantastic.
tweets for more details. If you're interested in jumping on with me on Friday, give me a shout.
Excellent.
There's always room for one more.
There it is, guys. So, we do our preview shows, we do our review shows, but, we're really actively looking to kind of split up the content a little bit more, give you guys, more information, more content rather than just kind of pre and post game. So, yeah, the Lottie show is back with a bang, this Friday. So stay tuned for that.
I've got a new intro video for us as well. So I've got something a little bit different.
Yeah.
I've got a very, very good mate of mine to
We've seen
make
it.
me something fresh.
Brilliant.
It's really good energy. Really good. You don't want to miss it, guys, honestly.
It is. So that's your Wednesday and your Friday evening sorted. Wednesday G Talks at 7 p.m. The Lottie show is back with a bang on Friday. I'm not sure what time, but that will be confirmed later on in the week. And that's it really from us. I'll just go to the comments. I'll get through some of the last comments and then we'll wrap things up. So seen a brilliant tweet there. Danny Rose is back in England camp. He just fell out of Saka's pocket. Excellent. Tom, it's so weird, honestly. I was saying to Georgina, you don't know anyone, but you meet up and it's like you've been mates forever.
I've got a bit of a story with Tommy. Tommy was standing there. He spotted me. I looked at him. And it didn't register as him. And I looked at him. Oh, my God, Tommy. But it was really good to see him, if I'm honest with you. It really was.
It's just natural, isn't it? When you get to know somebody, even if you're getting to know them online and stuff, you can still feed off that energy. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you kind of know it's there, whether it's in person or not. Mikey, I'll get sharing your channel, guys, with everyone I know and Arsenal mates. Thank you so much, Mikey. And please, everybody else, please follow suit. All the support we can get, we are massively appreciative. Tom, G's wearing the gear this week after Steve gave him daggers last week. Yeah, 100%.
Do you know what? I didn't get daggers. Did you notice that? I didn't get daggers.
What's oh man, Stephen gives it to us, like literally.
No, it was just you.
It's like we're like two little naughty kids, man.
I didn't say anything. So it was you, and he's like, "Oh, I'm poor." If you didn't say anything, I don't think that would have happened. Sorry, Stephen.
Yeah. Ben here saying Southampton game Lottie first meet up.
I can't wait.
That's gonna be epic.
It's gonna be fun.
Enjoy, guys. Tom says here, I found out which hotel I'm staying at the Barca game Lottie. I had to check after you asked me yesterday. No problem.
Yeah, because Tommy's coming down in the weeks for the Barcelona game because it's a Thursday night, so gonna be a good game.
So yeah, that's it. It feels really good, that we are, in a much better place than where we were, and when we think about it, I think we're 3 points off second. We're on a 10-game unbeaten run. We're keeping clean sheets. The Halen boys are performing. The defense is not conceding. There's so many positives at the moment. I kind of wish that the international break didn't come at this point because we're absolutely flying. Yeah, go on, Lottie.
Definitely. I mean, it's a shame. It's a shame that you didn't include the draws in your Arteta tattoo bet. I'm gutted. You would have been getting it otherwise, wouldn't you? We'd be filming it.
I would have been getting. I probably would have been getting multiple tattoos, isn't it?
Yeah. Thing is, you said you've got space, so
Yeah. But look, I don't know, Lottie. Obviously, I'll leave the last word to you. Those of you in the chat, those of you who've watched tonight, thank you so much for your continued support. It's always an absolute pleasure doing these shows. So I'm just going to say goodnight from me. I'll see you guys on Wednesday for a second episode of G Talks. Lottie, any last words?
Yeah, I'm gonna sign off a bit differently. I'm gonna say what I said at the beginning of the show. Halen's on the roll. Saka and Smith Rowe. Good night.
Good night, people.